Hey everyone. Man, whoever says just grab a camera and start recording must not have a cat, because this thing right here has ruined about 5 takes of this. Hopefully that's the last time. I doubt it. She's jumping all over behind me. But, as I've said so many times that you've never heard, welcome back. I hope everyone's doing okay. This is going to be a pickup video, and I'm going to focus on hardware and kind of miscellaneous stuff. Now, this won't be everything for the simple fact that this is stuff going all the way back to last August or so it's been quite a while. I've accumulated a bunch of fun stuff. Because it's been so long and I'm recording this on my phone, I'm not sure if I can edit this footage. If I can, I will put the two parts together of hardware and software. If not, then I guess it'll just be broken up into two. I might show some software in this depending on how quickly I get through the hardware and how frequently this cat interrupts me. But what I was saying is I hope everyone's doing good out there. It's been pretty wild down here. There was an outbreak of the virus at my grandmother's nursing home. They were able to quarantine those people before it spread too bad. My brother, they're pretty sure had it. He had a Skype conversation with a doctor who basically told him, take this medicine I'm prescribing you and good luck. And it was just extremely powerful cough medicine. He had to take that with a lot of Tylenol. He was sick for quite a while, but he also lost his sense of taste and smell for a good bit there. A family friend has passed away from it. One of the barbers at the shop I go to has passed away from it. And my dad is being tested for it today or tomorrow because he came down with symptoms, a variant of the symptoms of it last Friday. So I won't be seeing them for like 2 or 3 weeks at minimum. So yeah, just be safe out there. It's serious. I'm not sure why I'm seeing people on TV and news act like it's a joke or that it's just some fake thing. I know a lot of people. My wife's friend's husband just recovered from it. My wife's sisters are nurses, and they have tons of stories of how bad it is. So just please be safe and keep your distance. And I think it was Retro Snow on his Facebook. He just kind of made the comment that if you're buying essential items, just do that. Go out, get the essential items, and come back home. And someone had a problem with that. I couldn't believe it. They were wanting to argue with him, and it was like, no, this is kind of common sense. Let's just make sure everyone's healthy. Not everyone's young and vibrant and strong like me. I'm turning into another decade older soon, so I'm feeling it in my bones. I'm at that age where your knees hurt when you wake up. It's just depressing. So I just hope everyone's safe and happy out there. And let's get on to something more fun. Now, I've played quite a few games. Recently, I am playing through Final Fantasy 13. It's as linear and boring as everyone says. I've made it my goal to get through every Final Fantasy game. I've now played through, I played through 7 back in high school when it came out, and I played through 9, I think last year, the year before that. Last year I played through 10 and 10-2 on the Switch Collection. I played through 12 on the Switch Collection. I played 11 when it came out. It was an MMO. I played, what was it? I'm playing 13 now. I have 13-2 in anticipation of finishing it. I will buy Lightning Returns when I finish that. And I've never played 14. That's an MMO as well. I really wish they had not put MMOs in the main line of the series. And I've beaten 15. And I played the Royal Edition. And for some stupid reason, they released the Royal Edition with every single DLC but one. And that actually cost extra. And the game is a massive download. So almost nothing's on disc. That's why I uninstalled it and never got around to the last DLC, because I beat all of the other DLC plus the multiplayer component. And I really liked 15. So now I'm on 13. I'll be doing 13-2 after this. I'm not sure how I'm going to play the original ones. I have them on PSP and DS, so we'll have to see. But let's get on with the hardware. The first up is this bad boy. This is Sega's STV board, the Titan. It's basically the arcade version of the Sega Saturn. Kind of interesting story with this one is on eBay. I had actually been looking for one of these, and a guy was selling the board with a game, and I'll show the game in a second. Now, if I show a game here and I've got to put 2 videos, I'll go ahead and just show the games again real quick in the second part. I asked him about multi-region BIOS. Does he know anything about it? And he said he did. He actually had some of the chips, and he could install it. and he would do that for like $20. So that was pretty good. It was, I think, 12 for the chip, 8 for the installation. You can see the chip right here. It's got a little green wire next to the STV logo. Hopefully, yeah, you can see it. And before I could make an offer, he sent me, is it a best offer when sellers contact you? And it was cheaper than the price for the board in the game. So it's cheaper than the price I was seeing at the moment. So I jumped on it. Sure enough, he sent it. I have it set to Japan right here. What you see attached to it is the dark soft multi-region BIOS. Now the cart's a little wonky. When you get the board, it's actually just the PCB board, or would it be a circuit board? PCB. And it's just that. You have to get a cart separately, and the person or the company I bought the cart from, turned out there was an error in the printing, and they had a whole stack of these, like unbeknownst to them until I emailed them, that didn't have slots cut out for the memory card or the, I don't know if you see, yeah, you can see the pins. The pins are how you select the game, actually. It's a weird setup. You'll see here, this is a cheat sheet. Now, the zeros and ones, you either have these little black pieces on them or not to cover up the pins, and that's how you select the game. Now, you can get an LCD screen, however, after getting all the components for it, turns out it is much more complex of an installation than I thought, so I don't want to risk the board or the cart, and it won't really fit in the case, which I bought from a company out of the Netherlands, and I really like. And there's also a more remote one that comes on it's like a handheld toggle that has a band to it, but the person who makes those, I can't get a hold of them. They're on a forum, but I've never heard back. And you see here, some of the games on the board are Cotton, it's Cotton 2, Die Hard Arcade, Decathlete, Funky Head Boxers, Final Fight Revenge. That's really expensive on the Saturn. Astra Superstars, Golden Axe the Duel. Some games will not work with the multi-region BIOS, but there are very, very few of them. All the ones I want to play work fine. World Cups 98, Radiant Silver Gun, Terra Diver. Now, I have all the Saturn variants that these are on, and I gotta say, they are super, super close. I actually can't tell a difference. So, if you're just interested in arcade hardware like I am, it's a great pickup. If you're just wanting like the gameplay experience, you'll be more than happy with the Saturn versions, trust me. But it's just a really cool pickup. Big fan of Sega, and so it's fun to get. I've actually never seen any of those games in the arcade, so to see the arcade unit, it's the internals is pretty neat. But yeah, none of these games like Virtua Fighter Remix, those weren't in my arcade. My arcade only ever got the first Virtua Fighter, and I had to go to Texas to play Virtua Fighter 2, which I did a few times. Had to bug my parents for a ride to the arcade over there. Let me put that up. Some more arcade stuff. Now, I'm just going to show the shelf for this, and that is one of my holy grails is Street Fighter. There we go, Alpha 2. The problem with this is you see here, there's a hole missing. It's not attached because I've had to fix this. I have now 4 CPS2 games, and every single game has come with significant damage. Let me see if I can show... maybe you'll see all the glue that I've had to use to piece this together. Yep, you can see the reflection there. Every single one of these has had damage. I am not sure why it's so hard to ship these, but initially I was looking for Street Fighter Alpha 2, and I missed out on an auction. It had a battery replacement, but with one of those keystone holders, which I've heard aren't that great. So I didn't want to, I was hesitant, and then I missed out on it, so I was bummed. But then a guy had Street Fighter Alpha, which is over there in the corner, and I picked it up. It was a really good deal. Came from Greece. It, of course, came busted. I tried to hint the guy that, this isn't really right. You should have shipped it better. And all he said was, I didn't send it that way. Talk to your post office. Okay, so that wasn't going to happen. So I'm waiting, and another one comes up, but this time it's got the undamned Infinite Key, which means you don't have to worry about replacing your batteries, and you don't have a modified splash screen with like a Phoenix board, which is when the board suicides or can suicide, so you modify some chips. It's less intrusive. And it sold. I didn't pull a trigger on it, but then I ended up grabbing Street Fighter Alpha 3. This has been a lot of fun. I completely forgot this is a CPS2 game. I just kept thinking it was a Naomi game, and there is a Naomi version of it. The CPS2 version completely slipped my mind. I went on eBay and grabbed these arcade. I think this might be a reprint because the other ones I've seen are black and white, but these are the arcade operator manuals. And then finally, I saw a guy in Mexico with Street Fighter Alpha 2. Now the Alpha right there is important because you can find Street Fighter 02 all day long. The difference is it is not the same as Alpha 2. Alpha 2 is the one we got. That's the one I grew up playing. The game came out as Street Fighter 02, and then Street Fighter Alpha 2 over here. And then in Japan, they took our version, re-released it over there with some tweaks, and called it Street Fighter 02 Alpha. Then, when the collections came out for the Dreamcast, for the Saturn and PlayStation, they took that version, tweaked it, and called it Street Fighter Alpha 2 Gold. And over there, I think it was Street Fighter 02 Dash. So there's a bunch of variants of the game, but I wanted Alpha 2 because it's got a few extra characters and there's some gameplay tweaks. Glad I waited. I knew the sticker was messed up. You can see there's some scratches. I knew that. I was not anticipating all the physical damage. I've hot glued a lot of this back together. That's why you only really see that hole right there. But if I flip it over, you see that a peg's broke, some pegs are missing. You'll see all the seams of the cracks. It's just unreal. The guy said he would send me another shell. So I said, okay, well, I would like one that says Street Fighter Alpha 2. Basically for identification, I just don't want a blank shell. And he said, sure, got back to me with all I have is a green shell, no sticker. Or it's for another game. So at some point, there was an arcade place that sold replacement shells, but I think the guy passed away or something. That's what I've seen in forums, and that was a couple of years ago. So there's no good place to get replacement shells. So unfortunately, all mine look like garbage. I have, though, improved that's the A board is the game. The B board is what they slide into. Those are super loud, like louder than Dreamcast. So I have done the fan mod in that, and that makes such a big difference. For $6, you can get a PC fan that slides in it, and it has better airflow, and it sounds super quiet. But I've been playing a lot of arcade games and older generation stuff, such as Final Fantasy, because Animal Crossing came out, and that's all my wife wants to do is play Animal Crossing. And that is hooked up to the main TV. And what I found is once you start to switch, you stick with however you play it. So I started in handheld mode, and so I exclusively play it in handheld mode. She started playing it with the TV, and she almost only plays it with the TV. She only jumps in handheld mode if she has to do something real quick. All of her friends are playing it. I'm talking, she'll have 10 or 11 friends on playing it. It's crazy. She's part of library Facebook groups. They're all playing Animal Crossing. So I've been basically booted out. I have beat quite a few games, though, using the Game Pass. I went through Devil May Cry 5. Unfortunately, that has crashed a lot. I can't get the stupid ending because you're supposed to beat a set number of enemies before you get the true ending. And that has crashed during the credits now 5 times, I think. So that's super annoying. I still have to finish it. I'm playing through the Bartell trilogy. I finished the first one, a lot of fun. Part 2 is not as fun. I'm probably 70% of the way through. But then Animal Crossing came out. I got the boot. And I was actually sick for like 2 or 3 weeks at some point in the past. So I did beat a lot more. I'll talk about more of the in the game section. But yeah, so arcade hardware has been getting a lot of use back here, especially on that piece PVM. It looks gorgeous. Now, some of this is wrapped up because, shocker, my wife has also been doing a lot of home projects, which has caused me to clear stuff out, make space, make stuff tidier. I mean, not that that's bad, but, I just don't feel like doing it because I'm lazy. So some of the stuff's been bundled up until I can find a better place for it than just like on the floor by my TV. And, I understand not wanting to see that. First up is, let me take it out of the wrapper here. Another Dreamcast, but the special one about this is that it has the HDMI mod. Well, actually, this one doesn't. This one has the, you see right there? Oh, it does have, this is the HDMI one. But I did install a Pico power drive in several Dreamcasts. That's right there. That's mainly for the GD-EMU because that can overheat due to it requiring less power than the laser. And the Dreamcast will essentially send more power than the drive needs, and it can get really hot. So I got some Pico units from a guy off of the UK on eBay, installed those, and you see the HDMI right here. The HDMI mod is actually kind of expensive, and I believe his name's Dan, and he goes by like Citrus 3000 or something. On his personal website, he was selling pre-modded units, and you basically paid $50 for the console and the installation when you subtract off the mod price. So that was the case with this one. You see it's got, I mean, the problem is he said the buttons were yellow. That's close enough for me. If you wanted one with completely white buttons, it was like $300 and something. This one was around $2, I want to say, which, yeah, that is a lot for a Dreamcast, but the HDMI mod is fantastic, and it alone is $150 at Video Games New York. This, however, does not have the GD-EMU in it. I decided to keep it separate. The drive works fine, and my main unit is the GD-EMU one. And until I can find the proper place for this, I might swap it out at that point, put the laser drive in that unit. But there's no rush. I did have a mini TV next to my computer I bought for testing purposes that I was playing this on, and even on that it looks gorgeous. It's really good. So I was pretty flush around Christmas time. I got my bonus and everything, so that's when I bought that. And a few other items, including this bad boy. This is another 3DO, except this one, if I can find it, where's it at? Right here is a swoop. Can you see it? It's a switch. There you go. You can see the switch right there. That is to switch between, is it 240p and 240i modes. It really makes the games look a lot smoother. In any other respect, it looks just like a 3DO. An FC10 unit. That's the model I actually have. But the person selling this had it for a really good price. The games look great. I cannot install these kind of mods myself. It does have a little scuff on the shell. I can always replace it with my other one, which has no problems like that. But it's this one's actually much cleaner. Looks great. They actually installed the RGB mod on their other one and sold this one. So I gladly took it off their hands. The other big hardware purchase I grabbed, which is also steel sealed, is, it's probably hard to see it through this, but it's the core graphics unit. Yeah, so the guy had a really nice boxed core graphics unit. So I get it, and there's holes in the box. I can't figure out what happened because I look on the photos. It looks perfectly fine. He sent it with the adapter upside down. And it's one of those things where to him, when I said, hey, you sent it damaged, he really didn't care. And I'm finding that's I guess an impasse with a lot of sellers is that I'll point out problems, and unless it's significant or like the console didn't play, they just don't care. And to me, it's like you've had this thing. This box has been around for over 30 years, and it's looked really good. It's got some edge wear, but other than that, it's perfectly fine. And at the last minute, you've had it. You've taken care of it. All you had to do is put everything back the way it was, wrap it in bubble wrap, and send it, and you screwed that up. So there are two large slits. Actually, I don't know if you can see it through the bubble wrap. Nah, you probably can't on camera, but they're right there, and it's just such an eyesore. But this is wrapped up because it's going to go... I've had the unit out, and I've been playing it, but we are going to put some stuff into storage because of all the humidity and silverfish damage. It's primarily for furniture that we want to save. It's some of my grandparents. Don't really want it in the house right now, but I want to keep it. And so I thought, oh, you know what? Those are actually desks and stuff. That'll be off the ground quite a bit. So if it's going to be in a climate-controlled storage, I'll put a bunch of my cardboard boxes there. So game boxes and magazines and stuff, I'm going to put in there for a while just to keep them safe until we figure out what we're going to do, where we're going to go in the future. That's like long-term planning, but I just want to get them, safe and out of here. And, of course, I had to buy its little brother, the PC Engine Mini. Now, I would say the best deal of this is the core graphics in Europe. You get the better game selection, which is, in this version, you have 2 Japanese-only dating sims. So technically, this has more games on it, but it's games you'll never play. However, in Europe and the US, or North America, you get Salamander, which is awesome, and the controller that has the turbo function. However, I wanted this one because I love the look of the white model. I didn't get the real one because that's an RF unit only. I got the core graphics because it's got composite out. However, they are releasing a controller for this model with turbo, which I pre-ordered off Amazon Japan. This is a very fun little unit, and the game selection doesn't really matter ultimately because they're already modding it. It's so fun to use this thing, and when I bring a Mini to the house, my wife always gets interested and she wants to know the history of the console and things like that. So that's a lot of fun to explain that kind of stuff to her, go through the companies and, you know, what made them special. She never heard about the TurboGrafx 16. So getting to go through that with the PC Engine, of course she finds it adorable because it is, and I get to show her the games, and you know the game selection is like 99% the same. There's even like the TurboGrafx layout with English. You know, you're really buying the same thing in most respects, especially after they mod it. You are, and it's just been a lot of fun to use it. And one of the most important facts is that if you use a Chromebook like me, every mini console's controllers will work for it. Those things are hard to get good controllers for. Some people get the PS4 controller to work or the Xbox One. I've had no luck. The only controllers I can get to work are the minis. And it's a lot of fun to load up RetroArch. And like I've been playing Shining Force CD on it off and on using the Genesis mini controller. It feels so authentic. You got the PlayStation mini controller. Now you got the PC Engine. The only thing is Nintendo's use that proprietary input, so you can't use it for that. But it'd be great if you could. So that's been a lot of fun. This is not hardware. Well, it kind of is. I got this in. This is this is called Best Hit Chronicle, but it's a model kit of the Sega Saturn. And Sega of America is actually putting these out in June, but they sold out, so I grabbed this from Amazon Japan. You see here, you actually get little discs with little stickers as well. So I'll be putting that together later. It's very intricate. And lastly, for this section, I also picked up this. Some guy in my, like an hour away from here has flyers for the arcade version of Street Fighter Alpha. I have no idea how he has this, but he's got a bunch of them, so I might buy another one. It goes nicely with the PS2 unit. Lastly, I picked up the soundtrack on vinyl for the new Samurai Shodown. I absolutely love this game. Play it a ton. Like, I can't wait for the next King of Fighters. I really like the last King of Fighters, and I love this Samurai Shodown. So if they can do a King of Fighters with those kind of updated visuals, I'm 100% pumped for it. But one of the main reasons I got it was for this. This is Crow, and it's autographed by a character designer and the lead composer. The first couple hundred albums came with this, and you can see their signature in gold and silver. So I'm going to get this framed because, like I said, I love the game, and to have a little piece of art like that, really cool. But I'm going to go ahead and put this stuff up and grab some games and see what I can do with that. We'll break this up in 2 parts, and like I said, I hope everyone's safe, healthy, and happy out there. And I've got more videos coming soon. I'll talk to everyone later.